Looking at the gospel today, we have a simple reminder of a simple teaching. The Lord says, truly be vigilant, be ready when he comes again. So it's be like those servants when a master comes from a wedding. When he comes home, they open immediately to wait on him. Kind of a nice imagery. The master goes to a wedding, and when he comes home, you never know he's coming back. And so he says, when he comes back, the servants are there ready to meet him, to greet him, to serve him. Happy will they be. He'll wait on them on his arrival. Best him to come and find those servants ready instead of the servants being asleep in bed or being in town having a party or whatever. So the whole teaching the Lord gives us today is to his people, be vigilant. You never know when I'm going to call you home. You never know when I'm coming again, the second coming. So be ready to meet me, whatever time that's going to be. Happy the one who's vigilant and ready to meet me. Again, that's a simple lesson, and it's a good lesson to remind ourselves, because again, we're on a journey, and this journey, our time on this earth, is going to come to an end. We never know when it's going to be, so be ready to meet the Lord. It's almost like an example of saying you're going to take a trip, and you go down to Logan Airport, you get on a plane. When you get to the airport, you find you're 2 hours early, your plane's going to be leaving 2 hours. So you say, well, let me kind of spend some time, let me kill some time by, maybe I'll go get something to eat, maybe go shopping in one of the shops, go to the bookstore, look at the books. But you know, if you're going to be doing that, you're always keeping aware of the time. Okay, I got an hour to go. You're always being aware of the announcements on the loudspeakers. Are there any announcements concerning my flight? So you're very vigilant. You don't want to miss the flight. Can you imagine if you went to one of the restaurants, got to talking to people, having a grand old time, and you forget the time and you miss the flight? I mean, that'd be kind of awful. So it's in the same way with us as we live our lives today. We don't want to get so distracted in living our daily lives that we forget that there's a purpose of life, that there's a goal to life, that we're moving on to something. Basically, we're going to see the Lord. Again, what's the best way of preparing to meet the Lord? Being vigilant is every day being about the work of the Christian. Again, simply, the Lord says our work every day is to love God and to love our neighbor. So if I can be doing this each and every day, I'm keeping a watchful waiting, vigilance, preparing to meet the Lord. So if every day, if I have that loving God, spending time in my prayer time, reading the scriptures, growing in my relationship with God, I'm keeping myself focused. I'm keeping myself centered. If I find myself every day trying to be of service to my neighbor, how can I love my neighbor? How can I serve my God? Well, I'm keeping my perspective. I'm keeping the focus of my life. Again, the fact is, sometimes even the idea of being vigilant, waiting to meet the Lord, is meeting the Lord every day. So if I'm vigilant every day that I'm meeting Jesus in my prayer time, I'm talking to the Lord in my prayer time, I'm listening to him in my prayer time, I'm saying, how am I going to meet the Lord today? How am I going to see him, the people that come into my life today? Or how may the Lord be saying to me in every situation, this is how I want to use you in this situation. How can I be of service and instrument of his peace in this situation? So if I can be vigilant on a daily basis, then I'm vigilant when the Lord comes or when he calls me home. I've been focused and centered on him. Also, I want to be vigilant, again, anything that might be causing me to draw away from God. So I want to keep my vigilance because, like when there's warfare, if someone has the night duty, they're vigilant so they're protecting their fellow soldiers. Is there any danger? They're keeping their eyes and ears open. They're vigilant for protection. So the idea of vigilance is also be vigilant on what might be the areas that may be causing us to sin, that may lead us into activities that draw me away from God. So I want to keep that vigilance also in protecting myself from evil. There's a wonderful little story about this old monk who was a gardener. And they say he was in the garden one time attending to the plants and the flowers. And one of the younger monks came up to him and just to kind of ask a question. He said, Father, Can I ask you, if you knew that the Lord was coming today, just say you had the awareness that he was coming today, what would you do? Like, what would you do if you knew he was coming? And the old monk looked at the young monk and said, I just keep doing what I'm doing. They make no changes. Keep doing what I'm doing. I'm ready to meet him. That's a great answer. So it's a question going to be posed to all of us. If you knew you were going to meet the Lord today, what would you do? Would there be changes made in your life? Or would you just say, well, I just keep doing what I'm doing. I'm ready to meet the Lord because I'm about his work each and every day. Again, it's always good to say, I'm going to be prepared to meet the Lord by simply loving God and loving neighbor. It's going to be an awful thing if the hour when the Lord comes or I meet him was an hour that I was bitter, resentful, unforgiving, into some kind of simple behavior. It'd be an awful thing to die that hour being in that kind of state. So we want to be prepared every day. The Lord says, be vigilant. So let's not be distracted by the things of this world. But let's keep our focus and centeredness, that we are God's people, truly his instruments, every day growing in love of him and love of neighbor as we prepare to meet him for the fullness of life in the kingdom. God bless you.